Hollywood loves a scandal, especially when the villain isn't a studio boss or a starlet, but the guy everyone thought was the nicest man in town. Tonight, we're diving into the strange, secret story of Roddy McDowall, child star, film legend, and the man whose love for movies made him an accidental outlaw. This isn't about fame or fortune. It's about obsession, loyalty, and the day the FBI raided Hollywood's nicest guy. Welcome to Historical Hot Messes, where even the kindest heart can make one legendary mess. Roddy McDowall wasn't born a rebel. He was born a movie miracle, a British child actor who charmed his way to Hollywood in the 1940s, starred with Lassie, won over Elizabeth Taylor, and grew up without the typical Hollywood meltdown. He didn't drink too much. He didn't crash cars. He didn't punch photographers. He just loved movies. By the 1970s, Roddy had worked with everyone: Charlton Heston, Bette Davis, Natalie Wood, Elizabeth Taylor. His Rolodex was basically the Oscars guest list. And behind that polite smile, Roddy had a secret passion: collecting. Not stamps, not antiques. Films. Every movie, every reel, every rare piece of cinema he could find. In his cozy Los Angeles home, McDowall built what friends called his mini studio archive. Hundreds of reels, some legal, many not so much. He made personal recordings of old films, rare TV broadcasts, even Oscar ceremonies. When friends lost access to their own performances, Roddy would lend them his private copies. He wasn't selling them. He was preserving history. At least, that's what he told himself. But when you have hundreds of unreleased studio prints, at some point, the government stops calling it archiving and starts calling it bootlegging. September 1974. A quiet morning in Los Angeles. Roddy's reading scripts when suddenly, bam! The FBI storms in. They seize hundreds of film reels, tapes, and recordings. The headlines read, "Actor in possession of illegal films." Hollywood gasped. Was Roddy McDowall, sweet, polite, tea-drinking Roddy, a criminal mastermind? The FBI thought they'd uncovered a massive movie pirating ring. In reality, they'd found one man's overzealous home video collection. Still, it was the first high-profile Hollywood bootlegging bust in history. When the feds questioned Roddy, they wanted names. Who else was trading these prints? To save himself from prosecution, McDowall handed over a list of friends and industry contacts who'd lent or borrowed from his collection. Names like Rock Hudson, Paul Newman, Mel Torme, and Bette Davis surfaced. Now, to be fair, none of them were charged. But in Hollywood, guilt by association spreads faster than gossip at the Chateau Marmont. Suddenly, Roddy wasn't the nice guy. He was the guy who talked. Even though he hadn't meant to betray anyone, whispers said he'd ratted out the stars. In the months that followed, Roddy's reputation took a quiet beating. Friends grew distant. Invitations slowed down. He kept working. His talent and professionalism were too good to cancel. But the sting never left. He once said, "I never meant harm. I only wanted to save what I loved." And maybe that's the saddest part. He was punished for loving movies too much. Here's the twist. Decades later, Roddy McDowall's obsession actually helped preserve some films the studios had lost. prints confiscated by the FBI were later found to include rare or missing footage that didn't exist anywhere else. So, in a roundabout way, the man accused of stealing Hollywood's heritage had actually saved it. You can't make this stuff up. Well, you can, but Hollywood already tried. Roddy continued acting, photographing, and hosting Friends until his death in 1998. He left behind thousands of photos and recordings, an archive so massive it now belongs to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The same Hollywood that once raided him now treasures his collection. Talk about a plot twist. So what do we learn from Roddy McDowall, Hollywood's accidental outlaw? 1. Obsession and preservation are a fine line, especially when the FBI has your address. 2. In Hollywood, one man's passion project is another man's subpoena. 3. And loyalty? Sometimes it gets rewritten in the third act. Roddy never meant to betray anyone. He just wanted to save the magic. But in trying to protect the past, he created a scandal that history would never forget. Thanks for watching Historical Hot Messes. If you enjoyed this reel of righteous chaos, hit like, subscribe, and remember, never lend your home movies to a guy who loves film this much.